You're watching the headlines, you've heard Canada's real estate market is slowing down. But there's not the real story. In 2025, the market isn't just changing, it's fracturing. While big cities like Toronto and Vancouver are seeing prices cool, creating a tricky situation for sellers, and a surprising boom is happening in the prairies and the Atlantic Canada. We're talking about some of the best buying opportunities in the generation. So let's break down the data and see which markets are cooling and which ones are heating up, and how you can use this split to your advantage. We'll look at the national illusion hiding these regional divides, pinpoint the fracture points in Ontario and BC, and then head east to find where the real growth is hiding. Stick around because I'll explain the forces causing this split and give you a clear game plan for 2025. Looking at the national numbers, you'd think that Canadian housing market is just stable. CREA's July 2025 forecast suggests the national average home price will dip by a tiny 1.7% for the year. Sounds sleepy, right? But it's a mirage. That calm national average hides the powerful currents pulling regions in opposite directions. A small national decline doesn't mean your house prices is dropping a little. It means major price drops in some of the country's biggest markets are being almost entirely cancelled out by strong prices gains elsewhere, the great fracture of 2025. This isn't one market. It's a story of two very different Canadas, figuring out which one in this key to making a smarter move this year. The fracture point for Ontario and BC. Let's talk about the first half of this split. Ontario's British Columbia. For years, these provinces were the champions of Canadian real estate. In 2025, the party has quieted down. In Greater Toronto Area, power has shifted to buyers. The benchmark home prices in July 2025 was down 5.4% from the year. Before the active listings shot up and over 26%, flooding the market with options, it's a buyer's market, which means sellers stuck on 2022 prices are watching their homes sit while buyers finally have room to negotiate. The condo market is feeling the most weak demand from the investors, adding even more supply to the pile. It's a similar scene in British Columbia. While sales are showing signs of recovery, the high inventory keeping prices in check. Greater Vancouver benchmark price in July was down 2.7%. The previous year, TD Economics projected both BC and Ontario will see average home prices fall in 2025 because there's simply not enough demand for the number of homes available. This isn't a 2008 style crash, but it's a real, meaningful correction. The hidden opportunities, prairies, and the Atlantic Canada. Now let's flip the script. While Toronto and Vancouver cool down, the prairies and Atlantic Canada are thriving. The magic ingredient, affordability. Canadians are leaving expensive cities in search of a home they can actually afford. Alberta has been the star. In the first quarter of 2025, Alberta led the country in its net migration, gaining over 17,000 people, with a significant portion of over 7,000 from other provinces. This has fueled the real estate market in places like Calgary. While Calgary market is becoming more balanced and seeing some prices pressure on condos, its resilient economy continues to attract new people. The story is just as compelling on the East Coast. CREA's national forecast specifically highlights the gain in Atlantic Canada are helping to offset declines in Ontario and BC. Price growth in the markets like Halifax, Fredericton, St. John's has been solidly driven by people moving for jobs and a different pace of life. This is where the real opportunity is, in markets with strong momentum built on solid economic demographic foundations. If you're getting value from this breakdown, hit the subscribe button. My goal is to cut through the noise and give you a real data you need to make a great decision behind the divide. So what's causing the massive split? It comes down to two things: the great migration, and number two, the different economic stories. The first, the Great Migration. This trend of Canadians ditching expensive provinces like Ontario and BC for more affordable places like Alberta and Atlantic provinces is a huge market force. The data for the first quarter of 2025 confirms Alberta was the top destination for people moving within Canada. Every family that sells in a cooling market and buys in a heated one is helping rebalance the entire national landscape. Second, seeing two different economic paths. Economic holding up well, with job growth that keeps attracting people. A similar story is playing out parts of Atlantic Canada. On the other hand, the massive economies of Ontario and BC are facing more headwinds from things like trade uncertainty, which has shaken consumer confidence, combined with the economic chill with wild unaffordability, and you can get the perfect recipe for the market correction. What does this mean for you in 2025? So how do you play this? Your game plan depends entirely on where you live. For buyers in Toronto and Vancouver, you're in the driver's seat. Patience is key. Inventory is high. The sellers are getting realistic. Don't be shy about negotiating, especially in the condo market. Just be careful. Make sure you're buying for the long haul. In Calgary, Halifax, and other growth markets, the window of opportunity is open. You're likely buying in a more balanced market, but good properties will still see competition. Get your financing sorted and be ready to act. You're buying into markets with strong fundamentals. And as for sellers, in Toronto and Vancouver, the game has changed. Price your home realistically from day one. If you're overpriced, you will end up chasing the market down. Work with an agent who lives and breathes the current data, not just last year's numbers. In Calgary, Halifax, and other growth markets, you're still in a good position, but know that the inventory is rising. This isn't the frenzy of a few years ago. Making your home look its best and pricing it strategically are still essential. You have strong demand on your side, so use that advantage. But don't take it for granted. Trying to figure out this fractured market is tough. There is no Canadian real estate. It's a collection of local markets all moving in different directions. The national average number is an illusion hiding the pain in some areas. An incredible opportunity. The days of easy money in Toronto and Vancouver are on pause. Meanwhile, affordability fueled boom in the prairies and Atlantic Canada is creating real sustainable. Winning in this market isn't about timing the bottom or the top, it's about understanding the fundamental shifts reshaping our country. Now I'd love to hear from you. What are you seeing in your local market? Let me know down in the comments.